Hello everyone, hope this video finds you well. We all want to be alone from time to time to escape the demands of our colleagues or the hassle of crowds, but not alone. For most people, prolonged social isolation is all bad, particularly mentally. We know this not only from reports by people who have experienced it, but also from psychological experiments on the effects of isolation and sensory deprivation, some of which had to be called off due to the extreme and bizarre reactions of those involved. Why does the mind unravel so spectacularly when we're truly on our own? And is there any way to stop it? We've known for a long while that isolation is physically bad for us. Chronically lonely people have higher blood pressure, are more vulnerable to infection, and are also more likely to develop Alzheimer's or dementia. It's really sad. Loneliness also interferes with a whole range of everyday functions, such as our sleep patterns, our attention span, our logical and verbal reasoning. The mechanisms behind these effects are still a little unclear, though what is known is that social isolation unleashes an extreme immune response, a cascade of stress hormones and inflammation. This may have been appropriate in our early ancestors when being isolated from the group carried big physical risks, but for us, the outcome is mostly harmful. Yet some of the most profound effects of loneliness is on the mind. For starters, isolation messes with our sense of time. One of the strangest effects is the time shifting reported by those who have spent long periods of time underground without any daylight. In 1961, French geologist Michael Seffer led a 2-week expedition to study the underground glaciers beneath the French Alps and ended up staying 2 months, fascinated by how the darkness affected human biology. He decided to abandon his watch and live like an animal. While conducting tests with the team on the surface, they discovered it took him 5 minutes to count to what he thought was 120 seconds. That's bizarre. As well as their time shifts, they reported periods of mental instability too. But these experiences were nothing compared with the extreme reaction seen in the notorious sensory experiments in the mid 20th century. In the 1950s and 60s, China was rumored to be using solitary confinement to brainwash American prisoners captured during the Korean War. While the US and the Canadian government were all too keen to try this out for themselves. The defense departments of both countries funded a series of research programs that might be considered just a little unethical today. But the most alarming effects were the hallucinations that would start out with a point of light and then shapes and eventually evolving into bizarre scenes such as squirrels marching with backpacks over their shoulders or processions of eyeglasses filing down the street. They had no control over what they saw. One man saw only dogs, the other one babies. Some of them experienced sound hallucinations also. A music box or a choir singing, for instance. Others imagined sensations of touch. One man had the sense he had been hit in the arm by pellets fired from guns. Another, reaching out to touch a doorbell, felt he got an electrical shock. Well, what message can we take from these stories of endurance and despair? The obvious one is that we are, as a society, considerably diminished when disengaged from each other. It helps to be prepared and to be mentally resilient. So stay connected, FaceTime, Snapchat, Facebook. Reach out to each other. The neighbor next door, a parent who may be living all alone. Whoever it may be, no one should feel alone. Touch somebody today. Call them. Use your phone, your computer, whatever it takes. But look out for each other because we're all in this together. God bless you and stay home and stay safe.